TITS Dell here. I think I'm going to be starting a segment about the very obvious dream manipulation that I experience on a daily basis. I don't know how many of you go through dream manipulation, but I do typically every day. I'm not like forced to remember it every day though. Sometimes they wipe it entirely. When they do that, I call it a dreamless night. Do I have typically many actual dreamless nights? No, highly unlikely. They're probably fucking my stupid dreams up every day. This one was a little weird. It had lots of different elements in it, and I'm jumping through different parts of dreams all the time. Like when one dream ends, I'll just pop up in another one. Whatever. So the first thing I remember is like, I may be at some kind of zoo or animal park or amusement park or something like that. And we're in a room or one of the areas where they hold like aquatic creatures. And this one, it started off as an orca. And I don't remember before we jumped in the water it being so like yellow and gross. But we were in this weird little like 4-seated water vehicle, water buggy. It went, we got in and it drove, and I don't know who the fuck I'm with at this point. Just we. Probably just AI created, generated randos. I don't know. We jumped in this little water buggy thing into the water, and we're supposed to be going over to like drive to the orca, and someone in the party or in the group in the car was like, "No, I don't want to. It swam over there." And I don't know. It was being kind of standoffish, which, okay, whatever. And so then that's when I noticed how, like, gross and yellow the water is. And I also noticed that I don't think I had, or the vehicle at all, had any kind of, like, respirator or a lid or a top to, keep us able to fucking breathe. I don't think it affected us in either way. So we drive out of the water and everyone's walking to leave, but I really wanted to pet the orca. So I walk over to the orca that has jumped out of the pool at the opposite end of it and is just kind of like sitting there. And I like reach my hand out to touch it, but it's not an orca anymore. It clearly was like a black and white orca when it was in the water, and before we got in, I think. But like by the time I actually got over to it, it was like weird dolphin. V2K called it a snub-nosed dolphin. I thought that was kind of funny, because it didn't really have like a typical bottle nose or anything, or like, a big snoot. So I thought that was weird. But I reached over to it and extended my hand out, and I like put my hand like this to like underneath its face, and it like snooted me with its nose, and then it like nibbled a little bit on my hand. Yeah, and then I don't know, a trainer came. VGK is telling me that I like tripped or something like that on the way out, or I don't know, maybe I'm misinterpreting. I really don't care. So that was the end of that dream, as far as I can remember. And then I kind of just appear, and fucking this dream is populated the next one, and this one is a little muddled. I don't know if I'm like at a store or something like that, but there's like, oh, right, they're filling in some blanks for me in real time. So I don't know, it's like me and some ladies, and we're talking, and there's like a bar or something like that, and there's like drinks and food on tables just everywhere, and and I don't know what we're talking about, but there's like I have all these fucking allergies. Chocolate is one of them, but I can typically take white chocolate, right? I can't do lots of other things too. Peanuts, wheat, all types of shit. And I don't really feel too uncomfortable saying that on here, because it's not going to kill me. It's just going to cause me great discomfort. So, you're not going to give me any anaphylaxis. Anyway, so we're, I'm walking around, and I like apparently really want some chocolate. So I go, and, I'm like looking through all this like box of little swirly chocolates, and I think it's like a holiday situations. I don't know. And then I found like this bag of cookies or peanuts or cookie peanuts. I think it changed. Whatever. And, I don't know, they're chocolate coated, and for some reason I grabbed those and I started eating them. Or at least I tried to. I think I did. And then the other people are just like talking in the background, and that's the last thing I really remember from that dream, unless it somehow gets combined with the next dream. In the next dream, I end up finding like a tarantula. I love tarantulas. I have one. I've had a couple. Most of them have died, unfortunately. Rest in peace, all my tarantulas. Anyway, the first one was like black with like hot pink legs, or leg hairs, or like hairs all over its body. I don't super remember that one, and I don't remember how I was handling it or anything, but somehow it made it up into my hair, which kind of looked like this. Honestly, I think it did. It was messy and matted, and not matted, but just messy and frizzy. But it went up there, and then I don't know, I must have forgotten about it, because I found myself at some point in the dream, the same one, with another tarantula. So I found myself with another tarantula that looks very much so like Desi. And Desi Rose is my current tarantula. She's up there on top of my light, chilling. I gotta get her crickets today. Today's the day. I think, I don't know, maybe that dream, constructed or not, could have definitely been an indicator that it's time to give her some crickets today, even though it's been like just over a week. a week and some change, and that's typically okay. She's a full adult tarantula. They don't need to eat like every day or every other day and whatever, but it's fine. Message received. I got it. So I'm gonna give her some food anyway. So I don't even remember how I got her, but I'm handling her, and she's crawling and we're having a good time, which is kind of funny because in real life, Desi is one of the few tarantulas that I've ever had that will not actually crawl onto my hands no matter how gentle I not push, but yeah, or pet her little furry butt. Sometimes that'll get them to move, or touch very gently the hairs on the back of their legs. That'll get them to move easily and crawl onto my hand. But she's not the one. She has a complicated history. But, anyway, so I'm playing with Desi, Dream Desi, and, every now and then she'd crawl on my shirt, and then she'd somehow make her way up to my hair. And then I was able to get her down from my hair, I think at least once in the dream. But, there was one time where I was not able to successfully get her down. And, while she was up there, I found myself at some point looking at my reflection or something like that. And I saw the other tarantula, the black one with the hot pink legs and hair, just dead, and my hair is dead as fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's where you went. And I thought that was, well, I currently think that's kind of funny. But whatever. So, I think at this point, I actually might have been in that same dream with the chocolates and the bar scene and tables, or maybe a school, not school, but I don't fucking know. Like a crafting, maybe a crafting workshop somewhere. I don't really remember, and maybe it wasn't really crafting. Maybe it was I don't know. I don't know what kind of event it was, but so this segment of the dream is pretty populated. There's people all over the place. I think there's a loungy kind of couch area where there's a couch, and then there's tables and a big bar counter and more tables. And then from this direction that I'm facing, there was a table next to me or behind me, and a bar that had a counter and some chairs, and there's a dude right there, and more people, and it went back that way too, a more open space, patio type situation, bathrooms over there. So I was trying to get Desi off the top of my head. I don't know if I got the other dead tarantula off, honestly. It might have just been up there still. And I think maybe at this point my podcast changed. I don't know if any of you other TIs experience this, but when I'm dreaming sometimes, I'll put my phones and all my devices on airplane mode. So, my podcast might have been changed to a podcast about zombies and something like that. Anyway, so sometimes the podcast will, whatever's being said in the podcast, and sometimes it hasn't done it for a while, I don't think, but sometimes the music I'm also playing will populate in my dream. And what's kind of funny about that is if I fall asleep, back in the day, I would fall asleep every now and then to reels. And so the reels on Facebook, they just repeat when they finish most of the time. Then you get an ad, and then it might skip it, or it might just repeat it again. And so there was a time that I was in the stream, and this reel, just all of the people in my dream, everyone who I came into contact with at that segment, literally was just repeating the reel over and over and over and over again. It weirded me out. But anyway, I think that happened about the zombie podcast I was listening to. And, or maybe it was just the dream populator people or whatever manipulators like were inspired by it. So they put me through a zombie scenario. I ended up knocking Desi off my head, trying to get her off my head. And she landed on the floor. And I think I was standing on a table or a chair or a bar or something like that. So I get off of that and I'm like, oh my God, Desi. And, she looked really bad. But she might have survived if like someone didn't come in and step on her or kick her or something like that. And I was definitely feeling really, really bad about that. Like I'm like trying to, I don't know if I pushed people, I don't know, but I was trying to pick her up and she gets kicked over like again. So she got stepped on and then she got kicked over to underneath the bar. And for some reason there were so many ants, right? But before she got kicked into the ants, I tried to pick her up again and I was looking at her and she was still moving and her head was like connected by tissue, like, and it was just falling like slowly off, but she's still fucking moving around. Like, you know, typically spiders die, they curl, and she was like still moving her front legs while her head is falling off. So I think, I didn't realize it at the time, but I think she somehow was maybe affected by the zombie virus, but it doesn't really make too much sense because you take the head off, you fucking take the head off of the zombie's dead, right? Or decapitate it, or just pop it in the apricot or whatever. I don't know. But at that point, like a swarm of ants came in and then they just started eating her, and then she, you know, she folded, she crumpled. And right after that, people are panicking and running around and shit, and like footsteps, like hella footsteps running, and zombies. And so a lady zombie comes up, a white lady with like so she comes up to me and I don't know, I think well, I did not react appropriately at all, you know. I did not the fuck at all. So she ends up scratching my forearms, on both arms, scratching, and I'm pretty sure that's a kill shot. And I ultimately end up like I was trying to like keep her from scratching me or biting me or whatever, and like I grab her arms and she scratches me, and I like, I don't know, I start bashing her head up against like a wall or something like that. And I think that's it for her at this point. I don't remember, but I like, there's like zombies coming in everywhere, I think, from like that patio area outside. And I think that was the end of the dream. There was another segment, you know, I was moved from that part of the dream to another part. I think my roommate was in the next part, but I don't remember. Anyway, with that being said, takeaways from this situation. Perps / wastelings are assholes, and they fucking put you through bullshit, consciously awake and unconscious in your fucking dreams, which is lame. Definitely watch what you are consuming, as in like listening to. when you sleep if this happens to you, because sometimes that shit will end up in your dreams. So watch out for that shit. Yeah. I guess aside from that, y'all have a good day. I'm about to start mine. So stay up, stay safe, stay frosty.